War Room ICS Intense Coaching Session number 11. Hello.
Hola.
Hola. How are you, Ellen?
Good.
Excellent. We're in waiting mode right now. We are waiting for Costco.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Absolutely. We're waiting for Costco. We're waiting to see what happens tomorrow. As usual, welcome to ICS number 11.
Yeah.
We're going to review, as usual, the S&P 500 state. There's not much happening as well because markets are waiting for
the federal.
Yeah, FOMC economic calendar. Let's just take a quick look. But as usual, I found a play for you, something for you to have fun, hours and hours of fun. Okay, the meeting is in the next 41 minutes. So we'll see. There's not much that's going to change there. Let me see. I'll show you.
Everything is down right now. And Costco, I think, is recovering slowly a little bit, little by little.
Yeah, nothing's going to happen now after everything's going to take place after the FOMC, after the meeting. And of course, going into earnings report. That's the most important. So there's not much that we can see. I noticed it went up at 50. Not a big deal. Nothing has really changed in structure. So we just have to wait. Today, what we're going to do is usually just take a quick look at what is happening. See right there, we're 40 minutes away from that meeting. And as I mentioned, not much is going to change. They're not going to alter course. Usually they don't do anything excessive at this time of the year. So we can still expect our upside target for the S&P 500, 3,200 by the end of the year. Well, during the next 8 days. That's what we're looking at. Okay.
Yeah.
And I found another play that we're going to analyze together that I wanted you to have as an opportunity as cash position. I'm talking about CHWY Inc. CHWY. Okay. We're going to look into who is involved, where's the smart money moving that stock, and what to expect. It's an IPO, and right now it trades at least, you can see, at 34% from the moment it was issued. It went all the way to be 47% down, and that means that this point in time, it's 27% up from 2019 lows. So it's good. Of course, it's had a lot of potential all the way. Still has. Let me share with you if I have it. Yeah, you're looking at it. Still has from this point, it will have all the way to this point of control, which is the red line, the horizontal red line. We're talking about a 22%. And of course, it goes back to its IPO price. We're looking at a 50% upside potential. Okay, so but before that, we're going to look who is inside, who is behind this company as far as who are the insiders and how we can position ourselves for the 2020, 2021. Okay, so that's something.
So it's okay to trade the IPOs.
Yeah, this one, like I said, it went down 50%. Remember, I think remember when I mentioned how George Soros bought Facebook when it was 50% down.
Yeah.
The same way, these tech companies, there are better purchases, 50% off their IPO prices.
Oh, okay.
That's when it makes more sense for you to buy it, because what takes place is that you have a lot then of the, there's a lock-in period when you buy the IPO. So you want that to float. And usually there's a 90-day or can be up to 180 days, depends. Really. The lock-in period, and then you want to really see who is who. That's what you want to see. Okay. So let's go right away straight. Let's go to the S&P 500. Let's see what we have. Okay. Nothing has changed right now. We have sort of formation. Do you see the chart S&P 500?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So right now we have a formation. It can be sort of a doji, but there's a lot of indecision. If I were to assume this, take a look at this. Very important because there's indecision, but in reality, we're still way above the previous bar,
Mm-hmm.
the daily bar.
Yeah.
That means that there's no really, we're not in the bearish mode between the analysis of both candlesticks. We're still in
Mm-hmm.
the middle, which of course we're biased to the upside based on the trend Fibonacci. We're still
Mm-hmm.
expecting markets can easily just push somewhere around here. Will be only about a couple 12 points, and then
Mm-hmm.
they can reverse another 27 points and close above the 3150 mark. As soon as we have a close and open above the 3150 mark, then we know there's a confirmation that we're heading this way to 3200.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't changed. I would love to see a confirmation after the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That will be something that can be confirmed tomorrow at the opening and closed by
Mm-hmm.
Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally will be, we want us to be trading above 3150 by Friday, by the closing. So
Mm-hmm.
that will be most important, and that will entail the next week we'll have the rally that everyone is expecting. Of
Yeah.
course, there are a lot of
At
professionals. Yeah,
3,200. Mm-hmm.
yeah, 3200, correct. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of professionals that they keep looking at this as a bearish scenario. The
Mm-hmm.
reality is that we don't know at the end of the day. We just
Mm-hmm.
have some technical information, some idea coming from insiders, and we look to make a more educated positioning. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end, nobody knows. Of course, for us to think that some sort of calamity, chaos is going to take place from here to Christmas is also a
Mm-hmm.
little bit too much. Because
Mm-hmm.
also you have to consider that in the case of the Chinese, they celebrate the New Year's. It's around the 20th of next year, January 20, next month.
Mm-hmm.
So between now and then, not much is going to take place that is going to rock the markets. Some
Mm-hmm.
pullbacks here and there, and then continuation. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna spend a lot of time here. One more thing before we go. Uh, where is the okay? Here we go. Let's take a quick look to the US dollar, Japanese yen. Always remember, take a look at the currency. And now
Mm-hmm.
I'm using a template that allows me to have the resistance levels and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take a look at the monthly. Always remember, we want to have a wide view, like an eagle. We want to see what's happening, what can really
Mm-hmm.
take place in the long term. Whatever you see in the short term is just pure noise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's why, as I shared with you, the options plays into January 20, those are March 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is taking place right now, we already know what may not
Mm-hmm.
happen. But
Mm-hmm.
in the long term, over and over again, never forget, US equities, the US stock market is one of the best places to put your money worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And other investors, professionals, want to play in the same pool that you are.
Mm-hmm.
The US market is the envy of everyone. Chinese markets, whatever, yeah, everyone want to make, participate. But the
Mm-hmm.
accounting process, the
Mm-hmm.
shareholder participation is not the same. So your interest, your money is better at home than anywhere else. Yes, there's a few other opportunities that people talk about, multiple percentages up, but those just are one, or I don't know, maybe 10 securities out of, let's say, 1,000 securities.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always to keep in mind. The US is the best place to put your money right now, the stock
Mm-hmm.
market. Now, we look at the currency, just as usual, to have an idea what's happening. We have this support line that comes all the way from February 2009,
Mm-hmm.
10 years. And not an accident, where is that line? At 108.59. So in reality, the currency is trading at a historical support. This is not a 1 hour, 4 hour support, okay? This is
Mm-hmm.
historically 10 years. Now, if you go back here, you see the scandal. We're talking
Mm-hmm.
about 2006, May 2006. That's a lot of time. There's a lot of times not an accident. This is a very important macro level to consider. And then this level from here rotates higher all the way to 115. This is how high we have to expect in 2020 the US dollar versus the Japanese yen. Why this matters, why I'm taking the time to always explain this to you. Excuse me. As I said before, this currency represents the investor's sentiment. If you see that it's going down, it's because the stock market is going to sell. If you see that this is going up, it's because investors are happy and they want to take risk. And this is what they call risk on. And this is always very important because every time that I'm looking to buy calls, behind the scenes, I'm expecting the S&P 500 to go up. Now, question, do you remember the MACDs, the McDonald's calls that we bought?
Yeah.
What do you think we made money on those?
Because the S&P 500 is trending up.
Exactly. I didn't have any news from McDonald's. Not at all. Actually, McDonald's was in a short-term sell. Yes, we knew the insiders via the CEO, the new CEO, bought 500,000 shares, that's something that is important. But it's not really what we have seen, for example, in Expedia. That we have seen director and chairman of the board buying above $1 million worth of stock. You see the difference? But everything is based on price rotation. As long as you control this concept, as long as you're buying at the moment that either it's bottoming or is trending up, your calls have an opportunity. Of course, you do want the stock to have positive news, but if it doesn't happen, count with the support of price rotation. And that's why I was looking to buy when at lows. That's the most important. The opposite is also true. When the S&P is going lower, that's how we made money on Netflix.
Buying puts.
Buying puts. And what was the S&P 500 doing at that moment? Rotating
Trending
lower.
Down.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was funny because actually I pinpoint the high of the S&P before it happened. And that's where we got into that Netflix. On Friday, and what happened on Monday and Tuesday? Rotation lower. That simple. So knowing this into 2020, the value of understanding that this currency can go as high as 115 and everything here, because it can go here, it's just an opportunity to go up. It tells you that equity markets in 2020 are going to keep trending higher. We just have to prepare ourselves and buy those calls at the lowest price of the rotation and give them time so they can move higher. That's our goal. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect. Now let's go.
Are you gonna teach me also how to do the I don't know what I see there, like the trend lines, like the T2, 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 you know?
Yeah, I can show you that. Yeah, I will write it down, and tomorrow I will show you how to spot historical levels, because this is something I have this template, for example. Well, this is for MT4, but I can teach you how to do it, which I do usually. Let me show you. Because I do it manually.
We can do that in the
next session.
Yeah.
The next session, but I show you what I do in this, how I calculate levels. Let me just go back.
You've been coughing a lot since yesterday.
Yeah, I'm still alive. No worries.
I want you to stay healthy.
No, I'm healthy. Believe it or not, I'm healthy, man. Very healthy. You were surprised the day we meet. I'm looking forward to that. When we meet, you will see how I look, and I'm almost 40. And I get all the time. I just got today. One girl, lady from California, she's like, "I need to see your passport. You cannot be almost 40. I thought you were 25." It's like, oh, gee. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that a lot.
Compliment. Yeah,
it's a compliment, but it's the result of, you see the juice I drink, right?
Yes.
It hasn't been an accident. While my friends, and others have been doing drugs. They've been smoking.
Oh,
They've been
yeah.
drinking for, I mean, since they're 15. I actually started
Yes.
drinking when I was 28. So,
Mm,
so it's not an accident.
yeah.
Let's jump into this. Do you see this chart that I have on Netflix?
Yes.
Perfect. This is how I calculate the rotation manually. I will show you how to do that. Okay. This is very
Okay.
important because then you really have an idea what happened after you cross the point. For example, very quick, you see prices are bouncing, this gravitating right now in this area, the 306. As soon
Mm-hmm.
as prices open and close above this level, it hasn't done that yet,
Mm-hmm.
not yet, then you know that Netflix can be worth $376.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, if you close now this bar here, then Netflix is moving down to 247. Why is this
Mm-hmm.
important? Because if you know it's moving to 247, when you see it trade on 247, you know now that it has all this room to rotate higher.
Mm-hmm.
And this right here is when you
Mm-hmm.
buy your call.
Mm.
And then this is, for example, okay, it will be 247. Applying
Mm-hmm.
what you know right now, the 10% variation,
Mm-hmm.
you know that you have to buy something that is about 264. You have to
Mm-hmm.
buy something around 271 at least. And
Mm-hmm.
then you give it some time. You probably buy the 3 or 4 month forward, and it has enough time to go up. Because once the price hits this level, the stock won't do this. Now the stocks.
Right.
So you needed time. This can take up to 4 months.
Mm.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, having said that, you will have this video later so you can repeat that and review all those sessions.
Yeah.
Let's go and work on CHWY. Now, here we go. First, we're going to check Open Insider. Okay, Open Insider.
Mm-hmm.
CHWY ticker symbol CHWY. HWY. We go to General and we click on tickers. We add a ticker. Then we go to date, see if there's any insider purchases. We're going to take a look at the last 1 year and we click search. And here we go.
Yeah.
Do you see these positions?
Mm-hmm.
Not really big positions that we have to
No,
be
not at all.
impressed. Not at all.
Yeah.
But as a reference, we know that the CEO and the CFO this year and the last 6 months, apparently
Mm-hmm.
they added 2 positions. Not a
Mm-hmm.
big deal. I'm going to Guru Focus. And I'm looking.
The
I'm going.
CEO, the ownership is 0% for some reason.
Yeah, it's always something tricky. I don't really value these positions. They're
Yeah.
there, but there's nothing significant. At least from the C-level executives, we have nothing significant. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Mm-hmm.
CHWY. I'm gonna find now Guru Trades. I want to know who is behind this. CHWY, as we said here, Jill today. Well, the 1 year it's minus 22%. It is an IPO volume. It's very catchy, almost
Yeah.
4.4 million. There's activity taking place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take a look at the Guru Trades now, see who is behind this company. And we're going to scroll down, and here we are. It's very interesting. A couple guys are still in the position. This is very. Do you remember the name Steve Mandel from one of the sessions where I described you as Steve Mandel, one of the greatest analysts out there?
Yeah. Yeah. Sounded
Guess,
familiar.
yeah. Guess who is in there? Steve Mandel.
Steve Mandel.
Steve Mandel, and this is a
Yeah.
huge position. He has 5 million shares worth.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. He bought somewhere
Yeah.
around 24 to 31. He's 14% down. This is absolutely a good opportunity for us.
Yeah.
I haven't done this, by the way. I'm doing this with you. I picked this for a reason, but
yeah,
you can see that how huge is that position. The second guy is another legend. He was actually Steve Cohen. I'm not sure. Does it sound familiar to you? The name Steve Cohen, Stephen Cohen.
I think so. Yeah,
He's famous because, yeah, Steve Cohen is famous not only because I mentioned it, but
uh-huh,
he had a hedge fund called SAC Capital, SAC Capital. They were
uh-huh.
really famous in the U.S. and they accused Steven of insider trading,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, he had to close the hedge fund. But he was making like plus 40% per year,
Mm-hmm.
so you can tell that something was off.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it is what it is. At the end, no one can find him, guilty. He closed shop. Then I think he opened in London, so that's why he's
Mm-hmm.
still trading. That's
Okay.
his new company, Point 72 Asset Management.
Uh-huh.
That's his company. I think like they're incorporating in London. Can't remember, but you see that he still has that position. It's a
Mm-hmm.
million, 1.3
Mm-hmm.
million shares. Also a big
Mm-hmm.
position. Uh, this guy Andreas, he went out. So two guys to consider: Steve Mandel and Stephen Cohen. Very important. Steve Mandel, 5 million shares, and he's still in. So that's
And
something
that
that we
was
have.
back in September this year.
Yes, so, and he's still
Mm.
in the position. So
He's still in the position. Yeah.
that's huge. So this is something that we're gonna play now. For this particular one, I'm not interested in looking at options. I want you to have this play this IPO options, especially tech companies.
Mm-hmm.
There are plays
Mm-hmm.
growth plays, and in this case, with that positioning right now, we're looking absolutely. Let me go back. We're looking at now knowing who is behind the company, the caliber of Steve Mandel. We're looking from this position. First trade will take us to 22.73%, and then we look to IPO prices. We have a 50%. Now, of course, when we look at understanding that my efforts are directed to have a triple digit
Mm-hmm.
portfolio where we aim to have these triple digit returns. We also have to take small hits. This will be what I would consider a small hit, and always something that, in a way, I'm sharing with you, so you see how I pinpoint these opportunities for
Mm-hmm.
everyone. This is something that will go out into the war room. I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably take a look at this to go in January, not now, but you already in advance have the information. You already see what I'm working and how I get to that conclusion, and
Mm-hmm.
how you can also do the same. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions from Shui?
No, not at this time.
Okay, perfect. Very couple points to consider. I will say first, tech IPOs are better if you buy them 50% off.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely in the last 10 years, exception from like Spotify and a few of those tech companies, most of
Mm-hmm.
these tech companies, they just crash after
Mm-hmm.
everyone buying the IPO. So always look to, if when it's possible, the majority of the time, pay attention when they drop 50%. That's when you have the best opportunity to make something out of your money. Second,
Mm-hmm.
who is behind the company? We never
Mm-hmm.
deviate from the main strategy that we always follow, which is
Mm-hmm.
who are the insiders, where they're located. That's the most
Yeah.
important. And
Mm-hmm.
three, always try to have an idea where the price may go. For example, I'm dividing this. I'm controlling my position size. I will be managing my money in two stages. It's number one, the point of control, which is this red line. The point of control can be defined as the balance price or fair price for the stock. That will be
Mm-hmm.
at $33.70. Of course, after
Mm-hmm.
that, the prices can always push higher, create new
Mm-hmm.
highs,
Mm-hmm.
and that value will go all the way back to the known IPO price. So that will give me 50% extra for my money. And
Mm-hmm.
then the stock can do a lot of things. It will can go higher. But up to this point, I have traded savvy. I've been very savvy about my trades and how I manage them. That's the most important. So always position size. Remember, if you want to get those 1000% returns,
Mm-hmm.
it's very difficult for you to hold one single position until the end.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it will create anxiety, tension. You will doubt yourself every time that it goes back. It won't work. You need to
Mm-hmm.
create multiple tranches, 1, 2, 3, depending
Mm-hmm.
on the capital available. So if you have 5,000, you divide accordingly. If you have 10,000, you divide accordingly. But always have different tranches. It's way easier for you to manage your position. Okay.
Yeah.
And any questions from CHWY?
No.
Okay, perfect. There's one more I have saved for you today. This company is called SAGE Therapeutics. Ticker symbol SAGE. So something interesting happened. Look at this red bar. This company on this month is minus 56%. Okay. How this happened is what we want to know. Why this happened. Usually with therapeutics, these therapeutics companies, they go into these drug tests and maybe they fail, maybe something doesn't go as expected. But we always want to know what the insiders are doing. And today, doing my usual roundup, let's see what I found. SAGE. Do you see it? The CEO bought $481,000 worth of stock, $500,000. That's a 16% increase from his previous purchases. The company is down 56%, and he's coming in right away. Now, usually these guys, they want to do something like build trust, but then when I look into the company, I see that they were selling. They were massively selling. All these guys were selling derivatives. They were cashing out. So look at this purchase, this sales. Although derivatives, because they didn't buy initially. The company is giving them the option to exercise that derivative and sell the shares. They all sold at what price? 160, 174.
160. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was an indication that we're building up this position, and now they're out. Now, the good thing is that now we can really pick the value. So we know that the CEO is adding 16%. So we want to know what is our risk if we buy now. For example, you know that I use volume profile, and volume profile is telling us very simple information. Look at this. This at 62, which already it went all the way to 56, 55. Look at that. It already went up to 66, 67. We have a very important support here at $63. If the stock were to drift lower a little bit more, where we are going to end? $46.
46.
Now, what we do know is that this is a great price for our money, $46. Okay?
Yeah.
So what I will say is I will put an alarm. We'll have to do that outside. Okay. I'm going to follow Sage, and I'm going to add an alert, crossing down $50. Why do I do this? That entry that the CEO has can always be a little bit, sometimes too early. Remember, remember, they have 6 months. Always remember, the lock-in period is 6 months for the insiders. That means that if prices of Sage were to trade at 50, what do you think the CEO will do? He will buy more.
Yeah.
And with him, other insiders will be more attracted at a $46. Why?
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Because when you look at the chart, let me eliminate this. All the drawing. Clear all the drawings. When you look at this, you have to, on the monthly chart, you can see prices are going to that level. You have volume profile to the right, and also I have the historical levels. 24, over here you have it at 53. So you have these levels that are very important. If I look at this here. It's 52. So at 52, you have a very important level back in July 2016. Then you
Mm-hmm.
go a little bit back, and then on March 2015, you have a very interesting, a very key level. It used to
Mm-hmm.
be resistance. Now it will be support at $55.90.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So combining this point one, two, I know that there's a massive opportunity for us to buy at a very good entry around this 50 level. Of course, we know
Mm-hmm.
that based on volume profile to the right, you have here, you
Mm-hmm.
have all the information. This is not something that you're drawing. This is the volume activity that the stock had, and is
Mm-hmm.
concentrated here, 44, 46. But we know that there are key levels between 52 and 55. If we
Mm-hmm.
are capable to buy this at 50, it's a great opportunity for us in 2020. And
Mm-hmm.
you see how all it happened, came all the way crashing. You see the emptiness here. It's totally
Mm-hmm.
empty.
Mm-hmm.
Lands here and finishes here. Not a coincidence that you have a big bounce over this level. So we just have to be
Mm-hmm.
prepared. This is another company that you can easily have found in Open
Mm-hmm.
Insider.
Mm-hmm.
So the lesson here, and the number one lesson I want you to get out of this is, you always have to double check the information. Not just because the insiders bought, we go in right away. You have
Mm-hmm.
seen there are multiple purchases that they have,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to examine each one of those before we
Mm-hmm.
go in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's most important. Always do the research. Go to the monthly chart and see what is happening, what is taking place with the stock, and where exactly you will find the best value for your money. It's not
Mm-hmm.
now. It's not now. Same with the case of Expedia. Not
Mm-hmm.
now. You will be rushing yourself into that buy.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the second thing to remember, like in Expedia, and in this case, if the S&P 500 is not too far away from its high, a new all-time high, you're not going to get the best deal, because the upside, the opportunity for this to go up, is limited by the
Mm-hmm.
capacity of the S&P 500 in rotating higher.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you always have to control. So right now, same like Expedia, this is just on your watch list, and you
Mm-hmm.
wait. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Perfect. Now let me just remove this, this, and let's see. Just to close today's ICS number 11, we're going to take a quick look to Costco, okay?
Okay.
Here we are. Now, very interesting. Right now, this bearish candle looks like it may go down, but we know at this point it can always reverse. If I were to look into, here's a balance. There's a pullback here. I'm going to take I'm going to take trend Fibonacci real quick. And we can see here something. We can see how prices, it's a very short Fibonacci. Prices went all the way back to the 61.8%. That's 279 right here, 279.
Mm-hmm.
And then bounce. It hasn't broken yet. So what is going to take place based on this analysis, this expansion, this is the range. We're talking $46.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went to the 61.8. I'm going to take again the range, and I'm going to go $46. There you go. Our upside target will be 327 for the stock.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, what it means for us is, now the most important is we need to see by a positive earnings beating earnings.
Mm-hmm.
We have to see the stock crossing 307.
Mm-hmm.
This will be huge for us, and very positive for the calls that we have, because this move right here will be close to 4 or 5%.
Mm-hmm.
we go in reality with what we know from the information we got from earnings whispers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very important. And
Yeah.
then can be a continuation, maybe a little bit more, but by then we will be already up in our calls. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this is
Okay.
what we're waiting. Okay, and
Okay.
this is the expectation based on what I have in front of in front of me on the
Mm-hmm.
stock, what the stock is doing. So the most important is also we're gonna be waiting on Doku, see how that moves. I think Doku
Mm-hmm.
will need a positive news on the market. The S&P will require to move higher, rotate higher,
Mm-hmm.
for us to see a benefit there. But
Mm-hmm.
my idea as well is that if things were to go wrong with Doku, we probably are in position to offset that risk with a bit of Uber, depending how it moves, and
Mm-hmm.
also
Uber
with
is down right now as well.
yeah, the company is not moving.
Yeah.
Let me take a look, see what it's doing. Oh, it's at 20 cents. Was the high? The day high was 25.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that on your screen?
Yeah.
Well, at least we're who should have know better with this one. 20. Our goal was on probably imagine that we got it at 10 cents.
Yeah.
uh,
Should we add to the position?
no, we don't. We won't add.
I don't have anything to add anyway.
But no. Usually, this is the other thing is like always the question. The one thing that puts you against the wall is which one should you add? Which one is going to be the one that really going to double down, come
Yeah.
back strong? That's also a
Yeah.
little bit tricky. Let's go with Snap.
Mm-hmm.
Naps, it's 5 cents. Probably got 8 cents. This still has some room to go, so we have time
Yeah.
next week, so it's fine. The market just had to make one little blip to the upside. That's it for these options.
That's all we need.
Yeah, that's
And
always what we need. That's always
yeah.
what we need. We need that extra
and
help. We did the homework and everything. Okay, this is 43.
hopefully the outcome of the Fed's report would be positive.
Yeah, the outcome of the Fed is already in line. They're not gonna deviate. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't
Uh,
work. But what we need, they already said they're gonna paralyze, not paralyze, but um, roll some tariffs on December 15. So they're not gonna take
uh-huh.
place. So
Uh-huh.
that's good enough for the market to just keep building up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an option. And okay, we are 43 cents. So let's wait. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Any questions from today's session?
Not at all.
Perfect. So today, just to resume, we have 2 minutes on the clock. We look at Sage. We look at also CHWY opportunities that, considering we're the insiders, we have a good chance after any pullback that takes place between January to February 2020 to get at a good price. You will have this video, so you can use that as a reference. In CHWY, we know that Steve Mandel, one of the greatest analysts out there, retired this year. It's almost 20% down on CHWY, but still holds 5 million shares. Then we look at Sage Therapeutics, almost 56% down for the month, but there's a rotation volume profile, and also there is important position. Not an important position, but there's value that we can found out of that if we have the ability to buy between $50 to $46. Right now, still too expensive. And of course, we take a look at what Costco may not do tomorrow on a positive earnings. And we're looking at a price of $307 to $310 that will boost our call options that we currently have. Okay. Tomorrow,
Okay.
War Room ICS number 11, number 12, actually, number 12 for you.
12, yeah.
We're going to take a look at different asset classes in general, and I'm going to show you how I pinpoint historical levels.
Okay.
Not your traditional, whatever course they teach out there, how to draw resistance and support. No, we're going to draw massive historical levels that are part of the idea of how I apply price rotation, because that's all it is. Price rotation defines entry and exit levels of professionals, the real people that move the market. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect. Alan, as usual, I want to thank you for participating, and I see you tomorrow on your ICS number 12.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jose.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.